I'm Kiara.
I'm Nate.
Welcome to Hanging with the Hillmans. And this is Cubby. Welcome back to Hanging with the Hillmans. This is not really the way we wanted to bring back our podcast. It's not necessarily the way we wanted to bring back our podcast. We had all these grand plans, like how we were going to restart up the podcast, but
Life took some turn.
life got weird. I've shared like little glimpses into some stuff that we've been through in the past week. What we're about to share is very fresh. It was literally a week ago.
Exactly 1 week ago today.
Yesterday.
Today. Because a week ago tomorrow is my birthday and it happened on April 1st.
Oh, your birthday was on a Wednesday.
Duh.
So our podcast, when we first started it, we opened it with our plans to adopt. Yep. And our excitement that we were adopting. And then we had an episode or two after that we just had some fun stuff. And now we're coming back with some heavier things. But
Despair and disappointment. And anger.
all of the
And
emotions.
sadness.
Yeah.
Not so much all of them. So there's not happiness.
Not all the emotions. Okay, so I don't even know where do you want to start? The match? Do you just want to start there? So after me and Nate announced that we were adopting, and we talked about some of this in our previous podcast. We did talk to quite a few different birth moms in that span of August, September, October, November, like 5 months, right? And birth moms, just randomly. Some would go deeper, some it was like randomly would reach out and then didn't go anywhere.
You just hear like a few words from them and then they disappear, and
Yeah.
I mean, it just comes with it.
Yeah. It's a roller coaster that you
It's
try to
not
prepare
fun.
for, but you don't even understand what you're preparing for.
No.
So in December last year, 2024, Nate got a text message, and this text message said, it was like from a friend. Well, he got 2 text messages. You're the one who got those text messages, so.
Just got a text message that said, "Hey, I found your adoption profile through Kiara's Instagram through your Instagram, and I have a friend that."
Did she bring up my Instagram then?
Yeah.
Really?
Anymore because.
Yeah, I just didn't even think about that part.
Anyways, got a text from a girl or an individual that said, "Hey, I found Kiara's Instagram, and I have a friend that's looking to place her baby. Do you care if I share your information with her? I think she's gonna text you."
Something like that.
So,
and then you got another text.
Yeah, so I was texting that person for a second, and then I got another text from someone that said, "Hey, I found your profile through Instagram and just wanted to see if that's something you guys are still interested in. What's going on with your lives and situations?" So I said, "Kiara, I don't know what to do or say. Come and take over."
Because for some reason our adoption profile only had your phone number listed. So it went to your phone, not to me. So we just started asking her the typical questions that we ask. At that point, we were asking every birth mom. Like, it was just what are you hoping for? Do you know what you're having? When are you due? What level of openness? Blah, blah, blah. So we're just kind of having a conversation with her. Right off the bat, she was very open. Like, she was sending us pictures. She was sending us ultrasounds. Like, we talked about how weird it was that she was very open from the get-go.
Yeah, I'm just reading through kind of the conversation. I have
from
all
her
the messages
from the initial one. But initially we were like, wow, she's really open, because from all the birth moms that we talked to prior to that, like, that's typically not what we got. It was a slow burn, because it's a huge decision they're making. And so, like, we just hadn't seen anyone dive into it so quickly and be like, here's pictures, here's this, here's that.
Yeah, we were just initially talked about, like, what are you looking for out of this situation? Like, and how open are you looking for? And initially we were like, oh, we don't want a very open adoption. Like, when we first
wanted it closed.
Yeah, we wanted a more closed adoption where it's like, hey, after the baby's here, like, we don't know how much, we don't really want there to be communication just because we feel like our
Don't
minds
come at us for this yet.
this is
let's
just
hear us
this
out.
is where we're new to this. We didn't know what it was, right? And so we were like, this is where we're at. We kind of are on a closed adoption where in our minds we feel like it's too much for the baby or the child to understand.
But yeah, and, like comprehend the whole situation.
And she was like, I think that's something I could look into, like be on board with. I would just want like updates or something, right? So we're like, all right, cool. So
yeah, we can think about that. And again, hear us out. Our minds have totally changed since then. This, like Nate said, we have never done this.
This is all new to us. We are going through it the same as everybody else. Certain people have different thought processes, but things change.
Things change so much
during
in
the
this
process. So
anyway, so she tells us her name, and Nate looks her up, or was it Darian?
No, she tells us her name. She sends us. We're like, we've been told so much, like, oh, don't get scammed. Like, you can.
We're
get scammed,
very
blah,
aware
blah,
of
blah.
scams at this point.
We're like, yeah, like I'm sketched out, And then she was like, here's some ultrasound pictures, and here's like a baby bump picture, and we were like, okay, like, feeling a little more comfortable with the situation. We both kind of still are like uneasy with it. And then Darian was like, oh, what's her name?
This is my cousin.
And she Googled it and found some stuff online saying like this girl.
There was like a Reddit forum.
Yeah, Reddit forum. Like this girl like
faked a pregnancy.
Or no, I don't know if she
No, she faked that she was pregnant.
That she was
faked
faked that she was a nurse, got caught stealing on a nanny cam.
And that's all we saw about her. And so right off the bat.
We were like, wait, is this her? And then, we didn't think too much of it because we're like, that's just kind of a weird coincidence that this would be.
Well, I think we thought of it, but it was one of those things where like
seeing the baby bump and we're like, oh, she is pregnant.
We did think about it. We had talked to her and we're like, just so you know, until the baby's born, like we won't stop sharing that we're hoping to adopt because we never know if it will go through until the baby is like home with us, right? Like there's no guarantee in adoption because part of us was like, we have no idea if this is a scam or not. So we don't really want to shut down our whole lives. She was due in May for 4 months or 5 months and to not have anything come of it. So we were cautious at first for a while.
She was like, oh, I was already like matched with another couple and they ended up backing out and going with somebody in their own state type of thing.
Yeah.
And the dad, like birth dad, doesn't want to be a dad. He doesn't want anything to do with kids. He doesn't like kids. And
we're like, do we need to talk to him? And she's like, no, he doesn't want to be involved.
And she's like, I'll just send him anything that he needs to sign and he'll sign it.
Yeah, it'll be no big deal.
Okay, like thinking, all right, well, the dad doesn't want to be involved and, it'll be smooth.
So she told us too, she was like, also just so you know, like I want to have this like secured ASAP, like know who the baby's going to. So I want, because we had told her, like we don't want to basically commit to anything until that baby's home with us because we have no idea what's happening. Like we don't want to say we're not adopting to anyone on social media because we don't know what's going to come of this. And she was like, well, I want to like lock things in. And we're like, oh, okay, so I think we should talk for a minute. She's like, yeah, I'm like huge on communication. I want to have a lot of communication with you.
Yeah.
So for about 2 weeks, we talked to her practically every day.
This whole time we've talked.
I know, but leading up to like when we were like, okay, we'll lock in with you.
Yeah.
We talked to her like every day, FaceTimed her multiple times, which always was like hour-long FaceTimes. And so finally, we're like, okay, like we feel comfortable like locking in with you and like saying we're matched. And this was right before Christmas. So we're like, are you comfortable with us telling our families? She said yes. She said, yeah, go ahead, tell your families. I want to see their reactions. I want to see how it goes. So Nate and I have videos and we put together this package to surprise our families that we were matched and we were going to have a baby in the end of April, beginning of May. And everyone was so excited.
Yeah, all the kids were super excited. I mean, obviously the adults and everybody, but kids were very excited.
Oh, that just like, yeah.
So we talk to her still like every day, and we were like, we need to come and see you. We need to come visit you. It's like, I really want to get to know you guys. I really want to get to know you before, this. Like, I want to make sure. And we're like, yeah, for sure. We get it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, so we would send her anything we bought for the baby. We bought anything.
She wanted to be involved.
Videos. We'd send
I
her.
literally asked her. I was like, because I wasn't sure she wanted to see that stuff. Because I'm like, maybe that's hard to see all this stuff for a baby that you're giving to someone. And she was like, no, I want to see all of it. I want to see everything you get. So we literally showed her everything. She was involved in everything what we bought for him. She had so much knowledge of everything, which we were like, that's kind of strange, like, this much, but maybe that's just because you're interested you are pregnant and you are having a baby. She watched us get the nursery ready. This one kills me. First off, let me just preface this by saying, if me and Nate seem super cold talking about this now, it's because we're kind of numb to it at the moment. We had our week of just straight depression. Of grieving. And now it's to the point where it's like, we just kind of feel cold about it. So don't think this was like our permanent setup. This is us feeling better. Okay. We'll also preference this with, everything that we're saying is our account of it, right? We can't say 100% on some of it, but with all the red she flags, has a different side of it. And with a lot of people that we've talked to, it's a very we'll tell you more about that. Similar situation. At the end of it. Anyway, she watched us get this nursery ready. I have a whole nursery done for this baby. And yeah, we drive to meet her for a doctor's appointment. So she told us she wanted us to meet her. Well, she was like, hey, I have to go in for appointments every week. And we're like, all right, when's your next one? We're gonna come. And she goes, all right, well, the ultrasound's on Friday. So we're like, okay, we're going to come Friday so we can go to an ultrasound with you. And then before, like maybe 3 days, 4 days before this, or after, like a week or so before, she goes, oh, hey, they changed my ultrasound appointment till Tuesday now. So it wouldn't be Thursday. And we're like, well, the only reason we want to come is to go to an ultrasound. So you know what? Like I said, at this point, it's not that we still thought it was a scam, but part of us is like, we want to see this baby. Like, we want to go to a doctor's appointment with her. Like, it's going to help us. So we were like, hey, it's Tuesday. And she's like, yeah. And we're like, okay, we're coming Tuesday then. So this was on like a Friday. And we go up? It was on a Monday. Sunday. Yeah. We went up Sunday. And the appointment was on Monday. Appointment was Monday. So appointment's Monday. Ultrasound's Monday. We're like, okay, cool. So we come down and on a Sunday. And we're there, and we meet up with her on Sunday, go to dinner, talk to her. She's like, hey. We're shopping with her. Yeah, she's like, hey, dad, the birth dad wants to talk with you guys. No, that was 4 weeks before we got up there. So, yeah, 4 weeks before that, we were trying to get some lawyer stuff done, and all of a sudden, birth dad had a lot of questions, even though he didn't want to be a part of it. We'll go over the red flag next. Go ahead and continue on with where you're at with being up there. We'll just talk about meeting her. Well, and I mean, so we hang out with her all day Sunday. You can probably just cut that out then. You're fine. Hang out with her all day Sunday. Are like, all right, we'll see you Monday. Do you want to go to breakfast? Whatnot? She's like, yeah. Keep in mind, all the time, like, I think we felt more comfortable. Like, don't get me wrong, things were emotional and there was a lot of highs and lows. But as far as like our relationship with her at this point, like we're 4 months into this at this point. We have a really good, what we think is a really good relationship with her. Like in our brains, this is a lifelong. I think it was a good relationship. And that was at that point where we were like, hey, we're way more open to doing an open adoption. Yes, that's where it changed. So we talked to her for months because in our brains, this is a lifelong relationship. Like there is a baby going to be involved. This is someone who's going to be in our life for forever. And so it was stressful because you want this to be a good relationship. We go up to meet her and we were so nervous. Like it's nerve wracking, right? Even though we've talked to her like every day, like it was nerve wracking meeting her. And the first night that we get home back to the Airbnb after being with her, we're like, wow, this is actually like going really well. Like things aren't awkward. I feel like we've known each other a really long time. We're like opening up even more so at that point. And we talked about, I think this is how
we were open. That's
yes,
the key word. We were opening up.
I remember getting back to the Airbnb, and this is going to be so weird for you guys to see in reverse time because I have so much content that I was like recording throughout this process of like.
You're going to post it?
Yeah, I am. And I remember getting back to the Airbnb, and we were like, okay, I can see how people do open adoptions.
Right.
Like, if you can have a relationship this good with the birth mom, like, I can totally see how this can work out. Like, if there's healthy boundaries and people are respectful on both sides, like, I can totally see how this works out. So we opened up a lot, like our hearts to this girl. You can continue on.
So that was Sunday. Monday, we're like, you want to go to breakfast? She's like, yeah. And we're like, well, do your parents want to come? And this was all before she's like, yeah. And then all of a sudden she was like, hey, my mom can't come. She has to work or something like that.
She had physical therapy.
Which maybe she did.
Could be true.
So we're like, all right, well, let's just go. So we went to breakfast. We hung out with her all day. Appointment was at 2:00. And we're like, hey, we have to go let Cub out for a little bit. Do you just want to come back with us to the Airbnb? Once again, can't say any of this is what happened. This is just how we're seeing it.
When we tell you all of the red flags, we have to, like, we saw them. But in this situation, you are sitting there justifying everything because you've never adopted a baby. We've never placed a baby. So you justify it all because after all this went down and you hear all the red flags, me and Nate sat back and we're like, are we dumb? Like, are we oblivious?
I don't think so.
But we weren't because we talked about them every time. Right. Like every time they came up, we discussed them and then we're like, you know what? We chose to go into this with faith over fear. We have to just trust that this is going to work out and go into this with faith. Yeah. And so every time we were just like, we don't understand it. We just need to move on. So we go to the doctor's appointment.
So no, not yet. So we go to let Cub out. And we're like, you want to come in? And she was like, oh, I got to make some calls or something. And we're like, all right.
We thought, again, maybe she was just uncomfortable going into a house with us.
That's totally fine. And so she starts making calls and she's like, oh, I'm trying to figure out my appointment. And this and this and this. And these, it got switched to this place all of a sudden out of nowhere in the last, without warning type of deal. It's not over there anymore. It's over here now. And we're like, okay. And she was like, Kiara, do you want to come back for this thing? Or do you care if my mom comes back? And we were like, I mean, if your mom goes to these appointments with you, like,
she probably wants to be there.
She wants to be there, right? So go ahead. Like, that's fine. And so we drop her off and then so once we go to drop her off, we're like trying to figure out stuff. And then she goes, they just told me we're not doing an ultrasound now.
And that was like 90% of the reason why we came. Are you
freaking kidding me? That's the only, like, obviously we came to visit you, but that's the huge thing to try to help us feel comfortable with this. And we're like, okay, well, we are going to reach out to some of these ultrasound places that aren't in the hospital and see if we can do that.
Like the 3D places that you can go pay for, which FYI, like, don't do that, guys. Don't pay for things outside of...
Pay for things outside of the adoption.
The lawyer stuff.
Yeah. So we call a couple places and they're like, yeah, we can get you in. And we closed like really soon. And we're like, hey, or no, we hadn't heard back. Right. So we're trying to figure that out. And we're like, hey, can we meet your mom? Like, do you want us to meet your mom? Yeah, because the appointment ended super soon. So appointment ended like fast. And she's like, oh yeah, we're not doing any of that. And we're like, well, did they say anything about the ultrasound? And she kind of skimmed around it. Like,
yeah. And I was like, well, are we still going to meet your mom? Because I was like, well, we're going to meet your mom at the appointment. And she was like, oh.
And we were like, well,
she has to go. I was like, we can meet up at Starbucks or something. And she's like, oh yeah, maybe that would work. Because we were just talking about getting coffee. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do that. Like, we're in town. Let's meet your mom. And so me and Nate head to the Starbucks because it's all like
we're
right there.
We're actually at Starbucks waiting.
We're like hey,
we're at Starbucks. Let us know if you guys are wanting to come. And then just silence.
For a long time. Yeah. And so then she calls me and she's like, is it okay if I give my mom your number? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But like, we are here. Like, why don't we just meet? And so then I get a text.
We were like, we can talk to her right now too. And she was like, she wants to text you.
Yeah. So then I get a text message from her mom, which could be, I don't know. Got a text message from her mom saying, hey, I have to go into work. Can I just call you tomorrow when you guys head home? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. We'll just be driving so you can call. And that was it. That was all the text message was.
Well, because then all of a sudden that place got back to us and they're like, hey, we can do one, but we close in like 30 minutes or whatever.
The ultrasound place.
So we're like trying to get her and being like, hey, let's go do this ultrasound. Are you okay with that? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So we're like, okay, cool. So we go and do this ultrasound. It's like 30 minutes and we are like ecstatic the whole time. And it's awesome. And
so weird. Let's be honest.
But it was weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just who her personality is.
No, this is why it's weird. This is why it's weird. In any scenario, this is weird. We go to this ultrasound and we go in there and the ultrasound lady's like asking us the situation. And we're like, oh,
like, are you guys like best friends? Like,
are you? And we're like, actually, we're adopting this baby. But yeah, we're totally best friends. Like, we really did get along so well, so quickly. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, we're like super good friends. And I like kind of loved that they had said that. 'Cause I'm like, oh, this is going to be like, this is going so well. Mm-hmm. And so then we go into the ultrasound room, and I will say, like, outside of any of this being a scam, this scenario is freaking weird in general. Never in our lives, in my one life, did I ever imagine an ultrasound not being just me and my husband, right? Like, normally when you go to an ultrasound, it's you and your spouse, and you're so excited about this baby that you're about to have. Going to an ultrasound with someone who you're thinking is going to place a baby up for adoption is just all sorts of emotional, because we're like so happy to see this baby up there, right? And we're like trying to not show too much emotion because we're not sure how she's feeling seeing this baby up on the screen, knowing that supposedly he's going home with us. So it's like we like didn't even really want to hold hands or like touch too much in there, because it was like
it's just it was kind of, it's just a weird
there's a third emotion happening, and you're trying to make sure that they're okay while you're trying to enjoy it, but like it's just not what you picture your first ultrasound ever being like.
Yeah. So we get done and we have like all these pictures, and she's like, oh, will you like send them all to me? And we're like, yeah, of course, you know, because we are okay like having more of an open adoption now at this situation.
We had a whole conversation with her about that.
Yeah. And then at this point too, she's like, brings up how the birth dad really has been wanting to talk to us again. So this whole time since we got there, she was trying to get in touch with him. He wasn't responding.
Just rewind for half a second. The first thing that's like really set off our alarms was 4 weeks before we went up there. We had scheduled a meeting for her to meet with her lawyer and our lawyer so that everyone could meet each other. She texts us an hour, 30 minutes before we were supposed to meet. And it's like, actually, I can't do this because the birth father wants to ask you guys questions before we talk to lawyers.
And we're like, this isn't anything legal or binding. This is to help you. Like,
you're just meeting him. This isn't going to
stop anything. You're just going to meet him. Like, let's just do this. And that she was like, no, like, we're not going to do it. We don't want to talk to the lawyers right now until we talk to you.
So we thought like, this isn't happening. Like, he's having second thoughts, blah, blah, blah. She's like, he just has questions for you guys. We're just going to figure out a time to talk.
So, like, a few days of really not talking after that happened. And Kiara's freaking out thinking it's not happening. And I'm like, I still think it's going to happen, but you're still on edge. And then all of a sudden, she's talking to us again like nothing ever happened.
It's all back to normal.
Yeah, it was all back to normal.
She doesn't have any. We're like, okay, did you ask him any of the questions, or when can he talk to us? She's like, well, we're gonna try to figure it out. He's in the army, which I do believe that he's in the army. Yep. He's in the army, so his hours are weird.
He's a very much different time zone than us. So.
But there are lots of hours where we're actually all awake at the same time. Right. And somehow in 4 weeks, they couldn't figure out time to communicate. Even though they would talk on the phone, they couldn't figure out time to communicate with us in those 4 weeks. And so we were getting kind of frustrated. We're like, if you have such important questions to ask us, how can you not ask them? It's like, even just text them to us. Nothing goes on. So then we're up there meeting her. And after one of the ultrasounds, it gets brought up again that he still has all these questions for us. And we're like...
Well, she was like, he's going to call us on his lunch. And his lunch is at 6 p.m. our time. And we're like... Okay, cool. Like, we'll just go to this place and eat and wait. And so we got there at 5:30.
And wait.
And about
Right.
8:30 hit, and we were just sitting in my truck at this point for about an hour and a half waiting to hear. And
she honestly had us convinced that he just ignored any remarks that she made, or like just was
like
terrible
said,
at communication.
a lot of this is what we are seeing on our side. We're not saying that some of it isn't true, obviously, but yeah, it's just hard because it's like I don't know. It's
so then they're
situation.
texting, and she's like, well, okay, how about we just get a group text and he can ask the questions in the group text. And we're like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's just do that.
Because we were like, can he just text us? Like, if he's not, so we're like, all right, well, we'll just drop you off. Like, let's just get a group message, or if he can text you the questions. So no group message.
Ever.
We're like, hey, did you get your questions? And she's like,
We actually
yeah.
have never spoken to him.
Yeah, we were like, did you get your question? Did he send you questions? She goes, yeah, he sent me them.
I'm just reviewing
them, and I'll let you know. And we're like, okay. So we're like, we're going home at this point. We're like, hey, well, we're leaving tomorrow. You know,
just text us the questions when you get them,
or call us and we'll talk about it. So we start driving home, expecting a phone call from her parents.
Never got it.
Never got
a text. Never got anything. And honestly, when we were up there, as we're saying, like, it's really good, right? Like, we feel like our relationship with her is really good, but we also are exhausted because the stability that's happening around there is literally non-existent. The people around her that we think are around her, the speculation of what we're being told.
Yes, from what we're seeing, there's a lot of not what we're used to.
It was completely unstable. The people that were surrounding her, that she was telling us, from what she was telling us, because we never met any of them.
Right.
Super unstable. No one communicates. No one's around. No one's talking to anyone. No one's doing the things that they are saying they're going to do. And so we're like...
But she's also on the phone with her mom.
All the time.
When her mom's working.
Oh, yeah. Her mom went to work, remember? And couldn't call us. But then somehow when she's with us that whole time, her mom's calling her from Target shopping. So, again... in our heads, we're thinking, okay, maybe the parents are just trying to disassociate from this too, and like are having a hard time. Maybe that's what it is. And so when we don't get a call, we're like, okay, they're disassociating. When we're not getting the text messages from the birth father, we honestly reached a point where we're like, okay, we can't babysit people to do.
Driving home, you're like, should I text? And I said, they're adults. I was like, we're in an adult situation. If her parents or the birth dad does not want to communicate with us,
there's nothing we can do about it.
We're working with her, and it's if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. This baby's coming. That's what we said. So, yeah, no communication came from her parents ever. We never tried to figure it out because we were like, we'll just talk to her. Nothing got brought up. The other thing that happened, them not talking to us either.
The other thing that happened when we were there is she somehow, coincidentally, our Airbnb was like a minute down the road from where she was at, where she said she was at her aunt's house. And when we picked her up and dropped her off multiple times, Nate made the remark of like, oh, I think she lives here. I don't think it's her aunt's house. I think she lives here. And I was like, well, why would she lie? I'm like, well, maybe she just doesn't want us to know like where she lives. Like, understandable. Like, people just want their privacy. That's totally fine. And then come to find out, like, one of the times when she was FaceTiming us and she went into her room and I could like see out the window, it was exactly where we had been taking her. So I know for a fact that she had been lying to us about where she lived, which again could just be a privacy thing, but it was just one of the many lies that we came across throughout the thing.
There's just stuff that kept happening that's like, anyways, so all of a sudden she starts having a lot of labor issues.
No, all of a sudden she was having issues from the moment we...
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, after we got back, we were like, I was like, hey, let's go to Blackfoot. My birthday's coming up. I would love to go to Blackfoot one more time before, baby comes. And then all of a sudden she's in the hospital, which she really was. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, they're going to induce me.
You need to be ready.
And we were like, oh, freak. Okay. Like,
so I on FaceTime with her the whole time she's in the hospital.
We're on FaceTime with her all day, pretty much.
I'm packing bags, putting car seats in the car.
We were like, hey, we got it. Just keep us posted. And then the doctor would come in and talk to her and she would put us on mute. And we were like, supposedly the doctor's office knows.
That's what else you missed. When we were up there seeing her, she was like...
miss it. I was going to get around to it. So the doctor supposedly knew she was adopting. So we were like, it's weird that she's not letting them
Like, why can't we
like,
listen?
why can't we listen to it? And then every time, and that's another thing, is every time after an appointment, it was like, hey, there is a ton of these updates. I need to update you guys. It's so important. So we would get on the call, and then it was like
literally nothing.
Nothing. There was
literally
no
nothing.
updates. Just like, I just don't think that they know what they're doing.
Like, there was always,
I don't feel good, and I think I have preeclampsia, and they don't listen to me.
I think I have this. I think I have this.
Right.
I think I have that. It was always something super catastrophic happening that she would claim was happening, and she needed to talk to us ASAP. And then she would call us, and there was no actual anything that the doctor said.
And then we brought up, hey, our lawyer really needs to know. What I just thought, our lawyer really needs to know, like, her doctor, where she's going to be giving birth, because we have to send a packet to them. And she's like, well, we don't know if it's here, if baby's going to be born here or there. We don't know if baby's going to be born here or there, right? And so the thing that made it hard was it's across state lines. And so we were working with lawyers in one state, and if it went across state lines, we would have to work with lawyers in a different state, and then we would have to go to court in that state instead of this state, right? So it was,
bottom line was she was claiming that she couldn't figure out what hospital she was going to give birth in.
Just getting the wrap around, like,
how did we not think about that one?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of it now. So like, and then she goes, hey, my doctors have a bunch of documents for you. And this was after we were like, we need to get these documents sent over. And she goes, my doctor said that there's like a packet you guys need to fill out, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'll send it to you through email. And then we would be like, hey, did you get those documents? And then she would ignore it. Like, weeks
or she'd
go
be like,
by.
oh, I sent it. I sent it.
And we're like, to this email? She goes, yeah. And we're like, we didn't receive anything. Are you sure? Can you send it to my email? So then I gave her my email and never received anything. And we're like, what in the crap is going on? Like, why are we not getting these documents? And then our lawyer calls us and is like, hey, I think we're going to get a different lawyer for her because of a certain situation with this other lawyer. So we're going to look into a different lawyer, but I can't do anything until Monday. So this was March.
When I look at this is such a, like, divine intervention, truthfully. The lawyer not working out.
Right.
It really is.
Right. Because yeah.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we'll tell her. So we told her, like, hey, we're getting you a different lawyer. It's going to be better this way to get a different lawyer because this one that we currently had with you just isn't communicating great.
And honestly, he wasn't, but
at the same time, she wasn't getting back to him.
She didn't want to communicate.
Well, because when she was in the hospital, she was like, we're terrified. We need to talk to the lawyers. We need to get the lawyer stuff figured out all of a sudden. And we're like, okay,
great.
good.
Like, we have
this
stuff.
So-and-so, get in touch with her right now. And he's like, hey, I called and texted her and she's not responding. And we're like, what the freak? And so then like I said, some stuff went down. We tried to get a different lawyer. So our lawyer calls us on Monday.
Wait, while we're in Blackfoot, she's doing the whole spiel again of, like,
oh yeah,
throwing our emotions through the dirt of the birth dad
is all
isn't
of a
sure
sudden has all of this stuff,
and she has done this to us the entire time of, like, everything is so great, this is what's happening. Oh, the birth dad has all these questions, but then never had any, like,
answers.
No answers, but there was nothing behind any of it. She'd be
like, well, what is he talking to you about?
She's like, I just feel like he's scared. I can tell he's scared. I'm like, well, what is he saying? Well, I can just tell he's scared. I'm like, what is he saying?
And then she would say, well, he's not saying anything, but I can just tell.
Yeah, there was never anything behind the word.
Then we were like, did you actually get his questions? And she was like, oh yeah. And this was 2 weeks later, right? That she finally was like, oh yeah.
All sounds so sad.
He sent me a couple questions after she told us she sent a list. And she goes, the first one is like, what are your plans? And we're like,
what are your goals with him?
What are your goals with the kid? And we're like, you couldn't tell us this. And then she goes, but then the second one doesn't make sense. So I asked him to fix it. And we're like, well, what did it have to do with?
And she's like, well, let me think about. No. She goes, well, let me think about it. Let me see if I can, like, dig through our messages and find them. And she's just sitting and dig. Like, we're on FaceTime. And then she'd be like, oh, I think it had to do with your Instagram.
Yeah.
Always brought up my social media. Yeah. All the freaking time. Like, how they would watch us and basically mock us on all of it and
tell us that they don't think we're good people.
We actually, no joke, we're sitting at lunch with her talking about how we could make this so open because we feel so good about her. And we're asking what the people around her are thinking. And she straight up tells us that they are telling her
that you're good people.
They don't think you guys are good people. I think my mouth went to the floor when she said that. I was like...
yeah. But in my head, I was like, I don't know these people. I won't ever come into communication or interact with them. I could give two craps what they think about us. Like, Kiara and me are 100% real on her social media, but they are taking a 10-second clip
of our life,
and that's all that
they're basing who we are off of it.
Right. So
that's a whole other thing.
Yeah. Anyways,
lawyers.
This is so all over the place. Everybody. I'm so sorry.
I feel like you're spinning, but just know that our head was also spinning. So maybe it's just helping you feel what we felt.
So Monday, March 31st hits.
3 p.m. Just kidding.
Well, it was Monday, March 31st.
But it was actually like 10 a.m.
And our lawyer goes, it was earlier because I was...
You're at the vet with Cub.
We were at the vet with Cub.
Yeah. Sam called me.
It wasn't Monday, it was Tuesday. Because it happened the same day. So Tuesday, April 1st, April Fools, and our lawyer calls me and I'm in the vet and I'm like, hey, can you call Kiara? Because I'm in the vet. So he calls Kiara, it's like, hey, I found a lawyer. We need to get a retainer and she needs to speak with us right away. Let us just get in touch with her first. So,
I don't know if you guys know about lawyers, but like it would be like $2,000 to have a retainer for a lawyer, and then you're paying $300 an hour. Okay, so when we're told this,
here's the
that's the cheaper end.
That's the cheaper end too.
So he tells us this, but also we're like $300 an hour can stack up real quickly,
right?
And we aren't getting really good communication from her right now. Our gut is telling us before we pay this, we need to get a hold of her, see where she's at. So I text her and I was like, hey, do you have time to talk today? She takes hours to respond. Yes. Also, by the way, I finally talked to...
No.
Yes.
Didn't you say we got some...
I didn't even say anything with the lawyers. I just asked her if she had time to talk.
For some reason, I thought you said something.
No, because...
I deleted the messages, so I don't have anything anymore.
Because I have them. Because every time that we would talk about something serious, she would dip over it or under it, whatever way you want to go.
That's right.
So I just said, can you talk? And she was like, yes. This was like an hour afterwards. And she was also, I talked to the birth father. And if I'm just being 100% honest with you, and this is honestly... She could be giving birth at any point right now. And she goes, he's just not feeling 100%. And we're like, here we go again. I said, okay, can you call us and tell us what he said? Like, even if they're bailing out at this point, we just wanted to know why. Like, we wanted closure. That's all we wanted, you know? She texts back an hour or so later. And it's like, yeah, but it can't be until this evening because I have to do something for school. We're like, okay, cool. 6 o'clock rolls around. I text her, I'm like, are we still planning on talking? She doesn't reply for another 2 hours.
No, she doesn't reply.
She doesn't reply. 2 hours go by, and me and Nate had a very serious conversation of, okay, we have been through the ringer emotionally with this. This baby is due any day. What do we want to do? Because this is emotionally exhausting, what's happening. And this whole time we put up with a lot of random things because we're ready to be parents, right?
It all seemed like it was gonna, I mean, looking back, there's a lot of red flags, but it all just seems so ready to
She
happen.
always talked about him coming home with us. Yep. There was never any communication from her that he wasn't coming home with us.
Right.
And the whole time we're saying, okay, faith over fear, like we're gonna go through this. And that day, for some reason, both of us were like, we need to step away. We need to tell her, listen, I know this is a lot for you. I know it's a lot for him to figure out. You guys seem like you have a lot you still need to figure out. And until you are 100% sure that you want to place this baby, I think that we need to just take a step back. And when you decide, if you decide, you have our numbers and you know how to get a hold of us. Thinking that she's at least going to respond and be like, you're right, or like, totally get it. Yeah. Something. We've talked to her every day for 4 months. Like, this person that we think is basically our friend at this point is going to acknowledge this remark. Nothing. We've never heard from her since. So as this is happening,
she was just living it up to that April Fool's Day to pull it on us the whole time.
So as we are sitting there, like in our head, it's over, right? And I don't know at that point that we had grasped like that this is probably a scam. In our head, it was just like, we just lost a baby. And that may sound dramatic to some people, but
It's like,
that's truly how it felt. We had gone 4.5 months of being told, like, we are taking this baby home. There's a nursery sitting in there waiting for him. We have ultrasound pictures sitting in there of him. Nate has a car seat in his truck. Bags are packed. All these things. We are 100% ready. This baby's coming home with us. And within a span of a few hours, all of a sudden that's gone. And it feels like you lose a baby. And we just go straight into mourning. Like, I dropped so instantly into a dark hole. Nate, I think, went bitter.
I got angry. And when I go into those, I just find things to...
He wants to know why.
Well, no, I find things to preoccupy myself. So that's either going to be just immerse myself in work, go to the gym, just do anything I can to not have to sit there and think about it.
So
Gym did not help at all. Had really good workouts.
As I'm in this like deep hole of depression, my brain just keeps thinking like, you got scammed. Like, you totally got scammed. And I start thinking back to all these things that we went through. And I reach out to a few people that I've gotten in contact with online that have been scammed with adoption. And I'm like, what do you guys think of this? And they're like, oh my gosh, like, you were emotionally scammed. And then I start Googling and looking up, like, what does an adoption scam look like? Listen to this. Hold on. So I started looking it up because I'm like, maybe, like, let me just look into see what that entails. So the number one thing is emotional manipulation. The expectant mom wants a lot of emotional investment from you. Constant texting, FaceTime, wants to see your nursery. Creates a sense of urgency and emotional closeness very quickly. Mirrors your excitement. Makes you feel like the relationship is deep and lasting. And that whole time, like, one of the things we talked about with her was that everything was super dramatic and chaotic. Like, she would make it that way, and then she would tell us that we are acting that way. Constantly has been like, oh, Kiara's freaking out right now, isn't she? Because I said that. Oh, Kiara's going to freak out if I say this. Like, it was like she was getting a high off of the fact that she thought I was panicking.
Well, and she did tell us at one point, I feel like all you care about is the baby.
So Nate was at work one day when she wanted to FaceTime after a doctor's appointment, and so I was like, well, you can just FaceTime me, like, we can talk. And we talked for hours. And again, this is one of those things where I got done and I was like, oh, that conversation went really well. I'm so glad we had that. But one of the things that she said in there was, she goes, well, one of the... She
wasn't, like, really opening up. Like, you were, like, forcing her to open up.
I was like, listen, this is, like, probably going to be one of the most important relationships in our life because there's a child involved. Like, we have to be open with each other. Like, you have to tell us what you want from us so that we can, like, communicate these things. And she goes... well, I will admit that one of the things that bothers me is that it feels like you only care about the baby and not me.
Yeah.
And first of all, I was like taken aback because we had done nothing but try to express our appreciation and gratitude and care for her that whole time because we are very aware
that it's
of what's happening situation with a birth mother.
Yeah.
Like, we are beyond grateful for that situation. Like, we could not express that enough. But I did think that question was kind of odd at first because I'm like, well, wouldn't that make you feel good that, like, we are so already in love with this baby? Like, doesn't that reassure you? But again, when I told Nate, I'm like, I don't know, like, maybe you just feel a lot of emotions when you're placing a baby. But I remember thinking, that was a weird thing to say. Inconsistencies in stories. Stories keep changing about the birth father, doctor's appointments, family support. Major events keep shifting, like due dates, locations, or why things are delayed. Due dates. Mm-hmm. When we first talked to her, the baby was due April 11th. Remember that? And then she was like, oh yeah, actually that was just the induction date. Then she goes, oh, these are the induction dates. Actually, I can't schedule those induction dates yet. Oh, actually this is when he's due and these are when I can schedule the induction dates. And then we would bring up those new induction dates. She's like, oh, I don't remember. Never could remember any of those dates. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. There's delay after delay in getting legal documents signed or sent. Never could get anything done with that. So the request for financial help, we never did get that. There are different types of scams, like where they will request financial stuff. And that is one of the things that, like...
well, you even brought up, like, these are the things in this state that you can be...
like, that you're entitled to as the birth mom.
To after the baby's born.
Like with lawyers. It was one of the reasons that we wanted her to get involved with the lawyers. So I'm like, well, there's things that, like, you are entitled to as the birth mom that we want you to know so that we can make sure that happens for you. She was never interested in money. It was just emotional. Vague or verifiable proof. Ultrasounds are sent, but not in real time or from a real appointment. So we had proof of like ultrasounds. She really was pregnant. That was the thing, is like once we met her and saw that she was pregnant, I think we kind of stepped away from the scam idea, because we're like, who scams someone when they're pregnant? There's no way that that's what happens. Right. There's no way we're going to get scammed. She's actually pregnant. The only thing that could happen now is that she chooses to parent. And that is something we were fully aware of from the get-go. Like, the only hurt that could come from this is that she chooses to keep the baby. That's the only hurt, because there's no scam here. She's pregnant. Well, little did I know that you can scam people when you're pregnant. So what an emotional scam is, there's no money exchange, but the emotional investment is massive. It can feel more violating because it's never about the baby. It's about attention, control, or validation. And you're left grieving a relationship and a child that never truly existed. Well, the baby existed. We saw him. We fell in love with him. But he was never ours to have.
Yeah. So, like we said, we've thought about it a lot. It feels very much like a scam. We obviously don't have 100% proof to say that it was.
Proof in my head.
But, with all of the red flags and everything, that's just, I don't know, it just helps.
Okay, well, the red flags that we had, when we first met her, there was that Reddit that was about her that we put away. Then the touch and go with the birth father, that we actually never spoke to him. She said he never wanted to be involved, and then also he wanted to be involved with the lawyers, but we could never get questions answered. He couldn't find time to talk to us for over 4 weeks, but was always in contact with her. During the visit, we were supposed to meet with mom, but then the mom never showed up. Her mom dodged every opportunity to connect. Her house wasn't actually her house, which, whatever. Shifted doctor's appointments last minute. Never followed through with group texts with the supposed dad. Claimed to send forms that never came. Constant drama and manipulation all the time. There was always drama. I regret paying for the ultrasound. Every time the red flags came up, you just
push it down.
You push it down because you don't believe that someone's capable of that. Yeah. You don't believe that someone could actually do that. And one of the things after it happened that really still kind of gets me. So I knew she followed me on social media. It was brought up quite frequently by her.
Or at least, even if she didn't follow you, she watched everything.
Everything. She would bring it up all the time. And there were times I would try to go find her page. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I never did. But she would bring up all the stuff that she watched. And after all this happened, that is one of the things I had the hardest time from, because it felt so violating. Like, someone targeted me through social media, watches my life, gets deeply involved in the most emotional thing in our life, our infertility struggle, and feeds off of this. And so when it all happened, I had a hard time getting back on for work, because I'm I don't know how to show up. She's just sitting there watching, and I don't know how to act. Do I act like it didn't hurt? Do I act like it didn't crush me, when in reality, it destroyed us? Me and Nate have never felt that deep of sadness. We went into a whole we sent out a group text to our family, FYI.
My birthday was the next day.
FYI, this is kind of what's going down. Please don't call us. We can't handle talking to people right now.
I would get messages. My birthday is April 2nd. My mom was like, can I call you? I was like, I'm just not in the mood to call or to talk, Mom. And then every message I got, I just hearted, love my family to death. I was just I can't talk about this.
I can't do it.
I just don't want to deal with having to re-explain it to every single person. Relive the situations. It's just...
And we've never done that before. We've dealt with some hard shiz in our life, but we've never shut out our family from it. And it was just it emotionally effed us up so bad that we were we are not leaving our house. I didn't get out of bed. Nate actually still functioned as far as work.
I immerse myself in things to help get over it.
I
not get over it, but just fake get over it.
Yeah, well, you fake it good. And I just laid there. I literally could not bring myself to function. And days went by like this that we just were... I cried a lot. I looked in the nursery and would just bawl.
I think for me, because you were very emotional in that aspect, and I was more, I'm not going to let these person win. In my eyes, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction that I'm going to let this affect me longer than I'm going to let it. I'm going to get over it. Maybe not totally get over it, but I'm not going to let it be the thing that gets me down. And I had that conversation with Kiara in the car. We were driving to dinner, and she's like, she was holding on to hope for something else. And she goes, I'm just holding on to hope that there was this other situation that this had to happen for this other situation to happen.
There has to be a reason.
There has to be a reason. I told her, don't let yourself get to that point where you are letting these people, pretty much make you feel this way.
Control your happiness.
You can't let other people control your happiness. The only thing this is going to do is put you in a dark place, and it's going to take you a long time to get out of it. And so if if we get into a routine of something different, it's going to be sad. We can obviously grieve, but you can't let people
and their choices
ruin your life. And so I think after that, and guys, wording was so much better in the car. What I just said was gibberish, but I think after that conversation with Kiara, she's kind of realized, because I've noticed after that, she's gotten a lot better. In my eyes, at least. I feel like like we said, we're cold to it, but it's mainly because we're like, no, we know this isn't happening now. If they were to come back and she was like, hey guys, actually, we're okay doing this now, I told Kiara, I don't think I would go through with it. I wouldn't go through it with them, because
there's no trust there.
You have the situation where you go to the hospital, get baby, and go home. And until you go to court to get everything completed, they still have the ability to call you and be like, hey, kidding.
Joke's on you.
So then we are driving all the way back to where they're at to hand this baby over, and then to drive home. Not going to do that. Not putting myself in that situation. I mean, it could go with any other that we go through too.
But we were just proven there's not trust there.
There's not trust in this one.
That's the bottom line. Yeah. Is every ounce of trust was completely lost there, and there needs to be trust when there's a tiny human involved.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
But I especially, watching you is hard because you're not a crier, but I hadn't seen you that low ever. And it was just, you sit in this hole, right? We had plans this whole year, and everything revolved around this baby. All of our travel stuff, it was the excitement of taking this baby, being parents, the family reunions, the vacations. I have a sister-in-law who's due right around the same time. One of our best friends is having a baby around the same time. And to think about, that one gets me.
Yeah, I know. The people that are able to.
Well, the people that you planned on raising
with.
This baby with.
Yeah.
And imagining this life with. They get to still do it. And we're so happy for them. This isn't oh, I'm so mad at you and so jealous. But you are now watching what you were supposed to have literally on the same time. And that's hard. That's hard to cope with, because we don't know when our time will be. And it just felt like it was dangled in front of us.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry. I'm over it. I'm not going to cry. But that's one of the things that
that's the hardest
still
thing
is bitter. It's a bitter taste in your mouth. When we were going through this last week, one of the days, my brother and sister-in-law brought over food and stuff, to check on us. Nate came into the kitchen, and I was just sitting there crying, and he's like, what's wrong? I thought you were okay. And I'm like, we weren't supposed to be on this end.
Not the grieving end of it.
This wasn't supposed to be us. I wasn't supposed to be getting meals because
of not getting.
Yeah, this wasn't supposed to be where we're at. And we joke around, my brother is one of the most, he's super private, right? He doesn't get involved in other people's business. He's very just he's private, but he cares, and so he shows up and he is there for me. And I told Nate,
he'll always be there for you.
He's always there for you. He's very private. And in this, and I always give him crap for it, because I'm always give me more, tell me more, I want to be involved. And in the middle of this, where we didn't want to tell anyone, I will admit, it was so nice that the person that was next door was just I'm here.
Are you good?
Are you good? But I don't, you don't need to say anything to me. It was just.
Compared to.
People have questions. Our whole family has questions.
I totally understand it. It's just.
We're not mad at anyone for having any questions, but it was very nice. The people that were next door weren't being tell us what happened. What'd you do this? It was just, hey, I love you. We're here for you. We went over there on Sunday, and my grandparents were there, and so I'm I'm going to have to tell them. And I looked at my brother. I'm I'm sure mom told you, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, so we're good? And he's like, yeah, we're good. Like, unless you want to tell me, I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, I can't keep reliving this. I can't keep doing it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's been rough watching other people get to live what you don't get to live. Mental health wise, it was scary for a second, but Nate's right. Like, when he made that remark to me, the thing that you said to me that got to me the most is like, we still have each other. Like,
Right.
Me and you have a good life.
And Cub.
And Cubby. Like, me and you have a good life. We're good. We're going to get through this. And it's true. Like, I can honestly say that through this, I feel like me and Nate have gotten even closer, and our relationship has gotten stronger because it was each other. Like, we had family, you know, but the only person that knew exactly what we were going through was each other. And the only choice we had was to rely on each other or turn away from each other. And luckily, I think we chose.
You tried to turn away.
I never tried to turn away from you. I just tried to turn away from the world and put
Anyways.
myself in a hole.
But yeah. So now we're
moving through it. This is the thought that I had yesterday. I feel like I've gone through the 15 steps or stages of grief, whatever, how many stages there are. I went through depression, I went through denial, and I went through anger. And now I'm at the point, the other day I had the thought of, I feel sad for her. I feel sad that something happened, or your life is a way that it is, that you feel like this is who you should be and these are the things you should do. Like, I'm grateful for the family I was raised in, that this was never even
you tell people this and they're like instantly, how do you think you were scammed? Like, nobody understands it. And just because we are people who we could never do this
to someone. And I feel sad for her that whatever circumstances in her life caused her to think or act this way.
Yeah.
And I really hope she figures it out because of that baby.
I wish them all the best.
You didn't tell the last part. The last final thing that made us realize this is a scam. Nate comes up to me and goes, look what I found.
It got really detective-ish. And I mean, by really detective-ish, it didn't take a whole lot. I just put the name in Google and put scam. I can't remember exactly what I put. And there was some Facebook pages in that town about her scamming people out of nannying stuff.
Pretending to be pregnant, pretending to have a baby, pretending her husband was hurt in the military somewhere.
Right. She would take nannying jobs when people were like counting on her, and she would just ghost them. So
there was just she was doing a lot of scamming in her own little town with these people in different ways and making up different stories. And we had no idea.
Yeah, so we found that out after the fact. I mean, we saw that stuff on Reddit at the start.
We never saw that.
But it just all came back around. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to move on. I don't know how quick we're going to be able to, but I'm at the point where we are, and I'm ready for the next chapter, which we've talked to a couple agencies, gotten some information from them, just so that we can be a little more safe. We're just very aware of what happened, and so I think we're going to be a lot more.
It's one of the reasons. There's multiple reasons of why we wanted to share this. I know a lot of people were like, you're not obligated, like you don't have to tell us anything. There's a few reasons. For one, we feel like, or at least I do, sometimes when you can just say things and get it off your chest, like, it helps you move forward, right? And with my platform, I've wanted to be able to share our adoption journey. There's a ton of people that I've talked to that are hoping to adopt, and I wanted to share this in hopes that they are aware of these things happening. Because we were aware of different types of scams. We weren't aware that they could be pregnant and be scammed.
Found out there's a lot of people that have that happen, though.
Yep. So the second reason was we wanted to hopefully help other people from it happening. And the third reason is this is also my job. And in that nursery are brand deals that I signed and contracted with, and I'm obligated to work and do. And I would much rather be open and honest with you guys so that you know truly what happened before I share these, instead of me sharing them fake happy, fake scenarios, and having a bunch of comments speculating what's happening and excited for something that's actually not. and not knowing the hurt that we actually went through. I would rather just be honest so that you guys know that when you see these things, this was when it was happening, and I hopefully don't have to go through hundreds of messages being so excited for something that actually isn't happening for us. So this allows me to also kind of reclaim my space. I don't know if she still follows me. I don't know if she still watches my stuff. I don't know any of that.
Or everybody else that supposedly did too.
Or any of the other people that she claimed did. And I just really needed to reclaim my space. Like, this sucked and it terrorized us, and luckily we have a strong enough marriage to be able to work through these things and a strong enough faith to know that everything is going to work out. But it hurt, and I want to move forward with this. I know this isn't the end of our story, that there is a baby that will be in that nursery one day and we'll be parents, and that this isn't going to define our whole adoption journey, that there's going to be that it's all going to be okay, you know, and it will. So now we're moving on. Like Nate said, we are signing with a consultant agency and moving towards I'm still sharing on social media if we ever meet something independently. We're going to brave that still. And yeah.
Yeah.
And just see what happens. There's the story. There's what our week looked like. We're going to be okay.
We got this.
One day you'll get on here and you'll see us with the baby. Until then, we are going to still choose to move forward with faith, and believe that our time will come. And I hope that anyone else who is pursuing adoption or going through infertility can find hope, at least, through some of the things we share. I know that this didn't feel very hopeful. This felt very like, wow, that's scary. Who would want to do that? But for a split second, like, there was a lot of joy. There was excitement. Like, that feeling of when we thought we were going to be parents, I think is it's worth pursuing still. And I hope it all happens for all of you who are also hoping for that, because this is hard.
And reach out to Kiara, because I don't do my social media. So ask her any questions.
Not that we can answer, but we can have this community of hopeful parents.
Yep.
Catch us next time. Hopefully it'll be a happier episode. It is. It's happier. We're moving forward with happiness. And we're still manifesting a 2025 baby.
Manifestation.
Right? Catch you guys on the flip-flop. See you next time.
Guys.